Can you hear me now? All right, thank you. I had the wrong thing muted. Hello to Mudshark. Always glad to have you, and greetings. How do I say Werureo? Wherever you are in the world, welcome. Glad to have you. Weeroo. It's funny because I thought I muted the wrong thing, obviously. I muted my voice. I'm Florida. Welcome. I muted my voice. I am trying to get some live Twitch approved music streaming going. And when I just checked before I started, I could see that it showed actual information about the track that was playing, but I couldn't hear a thing. Like right now, if I just unmute that, I don't think you hear anything. Oh, you did hear some music. How about now? Is it working? Let me know. Odd. Well, still got to debug that thing. Whatever. Welcome back. I had 2 weeks off because I had family in town, and wonderful, wonderful time. Super relaxing for me. At the same time, I want to acknowledge that all is not well in the world. It never is, right? There's always strife and suffering, but I especially want to acknowledge friends in Ukraine and the suffering that they are going through. And if there are any friends in Russia who are watching, probably the recording, good to have you, and good luck straightening out your country from being, well, an invasive, I don't know what to call it, just invading another country. Not like the United States also doesn't do that, hasn't in the past, but this time it's your turn, and I don't want to say your responsibility to straighten out, because I don't want to put things on you when life there is dangerous. Just acknowledging that. Here in the United States, things are also bonkers. But I am well. I hope you are well. We've got just a small handful of folks here, it looks like. But it didn't say that you were a first-time chatter, so I don't know. Maybe I don't remember. I think I would remember your name, your handle. Like, it's distinctive. So let's try to get back to where we were and try to figure out where we were going. Yeah, normally it says, oh, this is a, message from a first-time person, and it sort of highlights that for me. But, could be a Twitch bug. Who knows? Anyway, thank you for helping me sort out my audio situation. Let's try to get back to where we were. Some context for those who are watching, and if you're watching on YouTube after the fact, do subscribe and hit the bell so that you can get new videos as I post them. And if you like anything, even if you just like 3 minutes of it, give it a like, so that, like what you like and don't like what you don't like. Them's the rules, right? The rules are do whatever you want. Here we are. I am working in a project that's a testing tool that I wrote in ObjectiveC. This is the discovery tree outlining the project, which is the ultimate goal at the top, to provide a Swift Package Manager version. In order to provide a Swift Package Manager version, I need it to all be in one language. So I'm converting ObjectiveC to Swift. It has 3 verifiers, one to verify alerts, another to verify presented view controllers, and another to verify dismissed view controllers. And inside of the alert verifier, we can see where we are. We have 3 things that are swizzled: the UI alert controller, actions, and a general swizzle around UI view controller as well. We managed to, with the help of folks here over the past, we've managed to convert the UI alert controller. We are now working on UI alert action swizzling. Got the basic swizzling in place, and here's where we are. And I'm so glad I left this as a note. The saved handler crashes when invoked. That is where we are. In fact, right now, let me just warm the system up a little bit. I think it should be pretty good to run my tests in just a breath, like I like it. But if I change, so right now, we're replacing the initializer with this other thing that is the old one defined in ObjectiveC. The new one is down here. Here's a copy of the ObjectiveC code, which what it does is it takes a, what's the old word? Block. It takes a block and it shoves it away inside of the object itself with a tag so that we can retrieve it. And that's what I tried to do here, but if I do this, it crashes, and that's where we left. Now, after that last session, which unfortunately I failed to record, I looked up, like, why would it crash? I started going through and debugging. It's like, is it saving this closure? So a block and a closure are apparently similar, but not quite the same. Is it saving this closure? And yes, it is. Like if I set a debugger here, debugger point, and let's change this so that we are now, instead of calling the original, we're calling down here to the new Swift version. And just to prove, I'm going to run it this time with the debugger. Let's see if we don't have a handler, so I'll skip this. Here we go. This time on this, so I skipped that test. This test is passing in a handler, apparently. And if I say save that, it does. It saves it correctly. That's not the problem. The problem is getting it out and calling it. And when, I'm not going to do it right now, but actually I can. I can just say, you know what? Just keep going. And, oh, here it is. I still have some breakpoints. Let's get the action, the handler, and call it, right? So here we are. Oh, that's a different one. No handler. Sorry, it's bouncing around a little bit, but it's good for me to see what's in place. Ah, here we are. I remember doing this. So this, all I did was take the single return statement and I split it out to make it easier for me to examine what I get back. Like, does it get the handler back? And in here, in this case, there's no handler, so maybe that's okay. Let's keep going. No handler. Cancel. Here, this one will be more interesting. So now we're trying to get the action for cancel. We say get it. And it is nil. And it crashes. Like, why is it nil? I know I saved it in there. It turns out that a Objective-C block and a Swift closure are not the same thing. Objective-C, hey, welcome, Oskidan. Good to have you. Where in the world are you? I'd love to know. Let's see, shouldn't that be marked escaping? That's a possibility, but basically where I'm right now is whatever I shove in there, I can't get out if it's in Swift. I can if it's in Objective-C, because Objective-C is forgiving and the runtime is just kind of like, whatever, pointers, whatever, it doesn't care. So I did a bit of searching and found that you can't do this in Swift. I can't directly save a closure in Ukraine. Wow. So glad to have you. Sorry, I say it's a lot for me to take in, but of course I'm not in your situation. It's a lot for you to take in. Escaping should let you out. Okay, well, let me try that. Maybe that is the problem, that I'm not escaping it, because I looked something up and it said, you can't just save it. It's got to be inside of a structure of some kind. But let me try escaping it. This is why we are here. Let's see, you alert verifier. This is not where we are. Yes, it should be escaping if it's going to save it. That could make a difference. Wow. This is why we do this, right? Let's see, do I say it here? That doesn't seem, it seems angry about that. Oh, closure is already escaping an optional type argument. Where I'm seeing this is, sorry, my shoulder is kind of in the way. In Appcode, if you get an error thingy, you can always see it here in the lower left corner, or I can hover over the red and see it's already escaping if it's optional. I didn't know that, so apparently that won't make the difference. What will make a difference, and what I'm going to try, is not saving it directly, but instead wrapping it inside of something else. Because actually, in our other one that we did, UI alert controller, let's go back there. Inside of here, I had For the alert controller, where we do also attach it, where is it? Here. I call set associated object, and I create and pass in these extra properties. And that's because it had more than one thing to track. Apparently, I need to do something like this, very much like this. So let's begin. I'm going to, whoops, I'm wrong. I didn't mean to run it with coverage. Stop. Get out of there. Let me just get back to green for a second. All right. So what I'd like is to create some other extra properties, this time for UI alert action. I'd like having a clear key inside, and this is going to be, it's going to take, this is where it'll be escaping this same thing. One of those, well, I guess it doesn't need to be escaping. That's what I just found, right? That's a weird thing. If it's optional, apparently not. And so let's, doop. That is more than I wanted. Let me get my parens right. Okay. Kind of like that. And so far, well, I'll just go ahead. I'll say self handler equals handler. Create the property for that. I wish it would infer the type. Don't think it needs to be private. If anyone from JetBrains is watching, it would, actually, let me make a note of that. I'll open a ticket in case one's not already open, that creating a property, you already know what type it is, should do two things. One is it should let me choose between a let and a var, and the other is that it should set the type correctly. So I've got that down on my whiteboard, so I'll do that later. Question is, will this compile? And it does. And so I'm going to check it in. Funny little aside here. This margin notation shows what's changed. All this is in green because I've added it. It's like, what did I change up here? And the answer is that I have integrated something new that I didn't know you could do in Appcode. And that is I have Swift format set up now through a nice thing called a file watcher. Let me show you just real quickly, in case anyone wants to try using Appcode. Appcode has plugins. One of those plugins is a file watcher. As soon as you install it, then you can say, okay, so set up a file watcher, and I did. And here it is. And what it does is it calls Swift format on the current file, and this is the path. And this gives setting Appcode to get the formatting to be, more similar to common Swift standards. A little bit tricky. Swift format is, widely used, and so I wanted to start using it. So that is how it happens, and apparently we can see it took this indentation and said, well, I don't like the double indent. Bring that in one. Anyway, so that's why this has changed up here. Let me commit this. And this is not really functional yet, but I'm going to say that I created or define that, our extra properties. And now, with that in place, can I stick it in? Yeah, I'm a big believer in not having grand discussions about, like, should it be formatted this way or that, or following conventions and rules, when you can automate those things and say the robot will decide, we decide about which rules to apply. And that's where, if we were on a team, we would have discussions about, do we want this rule on or off, how many indents, and so forth. And we agree on those things and let Swift format have at it. Wonderful. It is, then you can be sloppy and whatever. All right, so here, let's see what we have here. I'm setting the handler. What is this foo? Oh, foo is, okay. Right, foo is the name I just set up, and we went through this process of trying to figure out where the problem was by defining this constant string out in Objective-C. That's right. So I'll just keep foo for now, but where we pass in the handler, what I would like is to say, create the extra properties. And here's more good stuff from Appcode, is that when I extract a variable, it suggests names. So good. So very good. So now I should be able to shove that in. Interestingly, I think now this should not be copy. It should be retain. That's because in Objective-C, with a block, I needed that block to be copied, right? So that we hang on to the closure correctly. This time, I'm counting on this other object to do that, so a normal retain ought to do it. Ought to, I say. Let me see how... there's anything else I did here. Okay, I didn't have an extra variable. That's okay. I'm not going to worry about it. Goal is to get it to work. We can get it to work, then we can fiddle with other things. But number one goal is always, can it work? And so that'll shove it in correctly. What gets it out? This is the other problem, is that whatever gets it out, I might have to bring that over. Let me again, commits, always with commits. This is not being called, but it does build. So store extra property. It also shows me typos. All right. Now, what gets it back out? This is where it comes out. All right. So I think I'm going to have to pull both sides over. Either that, or maybe not. Maybe I can try to move. My goal here is to try to move in small steps. And since this is an NSObject class, I don't think I need to, yeah, if I say this is ObjC, it shows it in gray, meaning it's redundant. So I should be able to get at this, hopefully, and say, get the associated object for foo, and this should be not that, but this. It's not picking that up. Ideally, I'd like to use it right here. And this is, we've gotten tangled on this for like pretty much every session, right? Is like, how do I get this properly defined? And so it's bridged over from language to language. I forget. Do I need to declare it in the header? All right, let me go back to the project view because I think the header's in here also, except this is in Swift sample, and inside of view, it's a little bit of a complicated project structure in that it has an embedded project. Here. No, that's just to bring those things in as the umbrella. Any ideas for what I am trying to do, which is to access my new class from the Objective-C side? Like, how do you do that? I feel like I ask this every time. Sorry. Good question. Does it allow me to see the generated Swift interface? And I don't think it does. And this is where we fire up Xcode. It's not something I'm used to doing, but maybe that's because I don't work in cross-team, cross-language stuff a whole lot these days. Let me fix up my display here so that it's a bit nicer. All right, so interesting, I'm getting a different error there, which is kind of funny because that's the actual error. All right, so now we can go back to the other one. And this is you can see I haven't done this hardly ever to see the generated Swift interface. So how? I don't recall how. Can you talk me through? Is it jump to generated interface? Well, doesn't seem to be working. Let me just set this back over and give it a build just in case. All right, so now can I see jump? So is this, am I looking in the wrong place to try to see the generated interface? I do not recall. Welcome to other folks who have joined. Glad to have you. Check in, say hello. Split the editor first, all right? So maybe that's, is it, here. Thank you. There we are. Thank you so much. And here it is. Oh, it's internal. I need to make it public. That is handy. I don't think Appcode has a way to do that. So that would be a nice thing for them to add. I do. There are other things I want them to add, though. I don't mind switching over to get stuff like this. That's very handy. Cool. So let me make this public. And I'll probably have to make other things public. At least that. And I will use this eventually. If I do a build now, or how do I made the change. Do I need to generate the interface again? Looks like it. Okay. So this is great. I'm learning some things. This is what I love about collaborating and actually coding together, even though this is very slow due to chat lag and not being able to, you have to use the chat window. One of these times, it might be fun, instead of doing it like this, to have a group of people in a Zoom call and share that as a live coding session. Then I could show you some things about ensemble programming, that is mob programming. But this is what I love about it, is that I just learned some cool new stuff. So thank you. And this looks like it should do the trick. So now let me go back and try again over where I like it. Let me give this a fresh build and let's see. It still says unknown type though. Darn it. Oh yeah. Mob programming, ensemble programming brings so many advantages. It takes the advantages of pair programming and raises them up, and it takes the disadvantages or drawbacks and it lowers them. In particular, one of the main drawbacks of pairing is if you're not a good pair, if the two people don't work well together, well, you turn it into a party with 3 or more people, and those issues diminish. Unfortunately, I still can't get at this. That's kind of a bummer. But I could also potentially swizzle that. QCO mock handler. Wait a second. I must already be swizzling it. No, I'm not. Bum, 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 bum. Tell me how to get it. Does the Objective-C code need to import the generated Swift header? Probably does. And hello, learning is fun. Again, Twitch today seems not to identify people as first-time chatters, so good to have you. Where in the world are you? It would be fun to know. Let me thank you. See, I forget this stuff. This is why we're here. Because not product module name. View controller presentation spy. Like, does it pick that up? No. Do I have any other place? I'm just going on a guess here. That it's like, there we go. That seems to work. Hey, thank you. Wow, these are the things I haven't done in so long. Great. So now that we get a foobar, these are terrible names. And this type is now wrong because what I want is not to... Is it to return the action? It must be. Why is it angry now? Can't resolve handler. Public let. Or is it? No, it's still. Boop, boop, boop. Is it out here? There we go. Maybe this will do it. You know what? Oh, right now this will fail to build. Well, boo. Member type is not a structure or union. Oh, I think I know. I'm getting my declarations all wrong. Now that this is not a, yeah, exactly. It's foobar is not a block. That's the problem. I'm using old, it was a block, but now it's not. And now I should be able to go like that. Now this will crash if I try to run it because I'm not using this in the Objective-C side. Oh, I should do that. I should do that. Let me make this visible. Let's try to do this. All these changes right now, I'm sort of mixing and matching my future intention with current reality. The current reality is that I can get there in smaller steps by saving and creating this thing. Init with handler. Here we go. Say this is extra properties and save extra properties with a retain. So here's the first question. Now I've made these changes. This is not being called, but hopefully this new class defined in Swift, we can start to use that. Drum roll, I'm going to run it without the debugger. If it crashes, it crashes. Passes. Yes. It passes. It's ugly as heck, but I'm going to commit it. So this is use I'm gonna mark this as a potentially risky change. Use extra properties or store that's good enough. Cool. All right. This is good. This is good. I do want to now passing tests. Everything over here is being called. All these red bars are distracting me. Here we go. Hide the coverage. Thank you. So everything over here is now being called, but we've shifted out the new what do you call it? It's a wrapper essentially. Over to Swift. And now let's start doing some cleanup. Specifically, foo is terrible. Instead of foo, I would like to call use as my key. Associated object key, there it is. And we want to get that out over here. Didn't like that parameter. Oh. Const void to in a string. What if I cast it? Doesn't like that. All right, fine. So now, will this still work? It does not. Why? I have no idea. Yeah. Bridging. I don't know why. Okay, so at this point, I think what I'm going to do is say reset and stick with foo. Not going to worry about it for now. These comments can go away. That's a definite smell. So that's a good refactoring that I don't want to lose. And I don't think that I want to inline this because it defines the type, because get associated object, it just returns a void pointer, which is like a pointer to whatever. And it casts it correctly. Foobar is terrible. Let me rename that. All right. Cool, cool. So with this, can I now shift this over to Swift? Let's try that. We create extra properties, we save them in, we do all this. So now what I would like to do, this is now old and out of date, is say, let's see if I can't use this one. Here we go, drum roll. Success. One of the things I try to teach and instill in the teams that I coach, by the way, for those of you who don't know me or only know me through my website or Twitter presence, I am a technical agile coach. I work with teams in various places. And one of the things I try to instill in teams and teach about refactoring is to make your moves smaller. We want micro commits to go from, we want to minimize any time that we're spend in a broken state. And one of the most common broken states, especially in Swift, is not being able to compile. And so it's like, okay, can we at least get it to compile? And then can it run without crashing? Can it pass tests? And so that's why this has turned out nicely to say, yeah, let's do these things over here. Let's first define the extra properties. Let's use them over in Objective-C. Now let's switch those to Swift. So this is good. Did I already commit this? No, I didn't. Okay. So this is a big new piece. It is switch UI alert action to Swift swizzled in it. Yeah. So good question from Oskidan. Have you tried TCR? And if positive, what's your thoughts about it? I have, and I've done that in other the last project that we streamed. There is a plugin for Appcode to enable TCR. For those of you who don't know TCR, it's TDD on steroids. It's called test and commit or revert. The idea is that every time you run the tests, it either passes or fails, right? If it passes, it will automatically commit. And if it fails, it will automatically revert. It's fun, it's scary, super effective, I found. Unfortunately, because of the way this particular project is structured, as a sort of well, I'll show you. There's the generic, the actual thing we're changing inside of a Swift sample. There's also an Objective-C sample. And because of this structure, it confuses the TCR plugin. But I've got it. I think I have it turned off right now. Where is it? What was it called? I'm trying to remember. Not change reminder. Limited whip. This is the one. Limited whip. It has a few different things to limit work in progress, and specifically TCR mode. It's wonderful, and I love it, and I can't wait to get back to it. All right, let's see where we were. Oh yes, I was still committing. So with this, we can now say, okay, and the larger refactoring strategy that I'm using is called parallel change, where we want to shift things. So we lay down a new thing and get it to work, and as soon as it's working, we get rid of the old thing. So now let's go over to the old thing, which nothing, I believe, is calling anymore. And let's see if we can't here. Now I'll safe delete it. And that deletes it from both the implementation and the header file. So if we go over to the header, it is now gone. And this should still pass. So let's commit that. Cool, cool, cool. This is feeling really good. I am at the top of the hour, I notice, and I'd like to keep these streams to 1 hour. And I started a little bit after, to give people time to join. But let me see if there's any more cleanup we can do. Like, why is this in gray? And do I still, probably don't need that. Oh, I do need that. That one we do need. This one looks like it is no longer used. Let's try to get rid of that. Cool. Delete the unused import. And over here, I'm not using this key yet. I want to. The handler is still used over on the other side, but the initializer is now inside of here. I think I can get rid of the ObjectiveC and the public. Cool. So this is a don't need properties in it from ObjectiveC. And one final thought is, as a class, can't it be final? And it can, but maybe I don't want to worry about that yet. No, let me do it. Like I should be able to find the other extra properties and make that final also. Doop. There we go. Swift format has done its thing, cleaned up my code a bit. This is something I forget to do. I don't use classes a whole lot these days, but they're still handy, especially for anything inheriting from NSObject. I guess making it final won't really help for NSObject. Well, it might. Anyway, it won't hurt. It won't hurt. So let me just check this in as make extra properties final, and then I'll get to your question, and then I think we'll conclude this session. This is good. I'm going to push this. Oh. Thank you. I'm going to get to the question, but this is, thank you, Mudshark. Now that I've removed the parallelism, the parallel change of defining what used to be QCO mock action 2, it was the second version where the one without the 2 was the old version. And now that we've popped it off and gotten rid of the old one, I can now rename this. Thank you. I'm not sure why it freaked out quite there. Didn't like that, probably because it is, it appears to be infinite recursion when it's not due to swizzling. And let me you certainly have a long name there. Hang on. Oh, there we go. Oh, my thing already did it for me. How very nice. Sorry, just someone to kick off. All right, great. Thank you, Mudshark, for catching this. Rename version. Cool. Let me push this all up. And it is beautiful. And now a question. Ton1N80, welcome wherever you are in the world. It's always fun for me to hear where folks are, and I'm glad to have new people this time. Hey John, great to see you sharing knowledge over here. Please keep it up. Any tip on how to speed up Appcode to make it workable? I really love its features. However, it takes ages when compiling the projects I've worked on. Funny you should say that, as I have a new video that's a 2-minute video coming out on Tuesday to show people how to do this, but I will show you right now. And the answer is you go into the help menu, change memory settings. The default maximum heap size is 2000 meg, make it 5. Make it 5000. There you go. You just got in 15 seconds what I show in a 2-minute video, but that will be coming out. Actually, I made the video for my last client, and because I was able to show it without any proprietary stuff, able to make it public. And so that will be good. All right. Let's see. Oh, looks like there we go. Chatting from Germany. Awesome. Let me switch out of the code here because we're done with that. Great. And Berat Birkin, hello. Greetings to you. Glad to have you join in. And Oskidan, I found your channel by accident. Bill Wake once recommended it. Okay. Yeah. Bill's awesome. Bill is one of the people I've looked up to, and he was a coach at Industrial Logic, and he retired right before I joined. So we were like two ships passing each other. But I'm still able at least to be in touch with him, and he's awesome. And so now I'm a coach at Industrial Logic. I get to be the honorary gray-headed coach at Industrial Logic. And Keroxis, thank you for sharing. Watch this session from Toulouse, France. Bienvenue. So glad to have you. This was a good session. I felt like it showed a few things. I didn't get so horribly lost this time. And you folks were very helpful in helping me over my learning, teaching me new things or reminding me of old things. That's what I love about this. And we made progress. Oh, shoot, we made progress. We made progress. This doesn't crash anymore. Save action is done. Actually, let me duplicate that. Save action is done. But there's one more step. The last little bit is the part to get it back out. It's really the handler. Retrieve. And so now on this discovery tree, I have clear status of what has been done and what we have yet to do and where to pick up next time. This is a tool that you can use for lots of work. It's not just for me. This is a way, because it's a tree, it is better than any sort of linear ticket system, because you can represent connections in a way that makes sense. All right, that is all. Thank you so much. I'm really glad to have new folks join. That was a lot of fun. I'm curious. I'm starting to use LinkedIn more for like as a social networking, not just like professional networking, but as a social network. And so this time, for the first time, I published the reminders of my upcoming stream on LinkedIn, and it seemed like some people, a number of people liked it. I don't know if any of those folks joined, but I'm going to, I think, continue to post stuff on LinkedIn, especially as Twitter is like, well, not everyone uses it, and who knows what its future will be. In any case, thanks for joining. Oskidan, stay safe, and you know that I'm praying for your country. It is greatly disturbing to most of the world what's going on with you. Thank you for joining. I will see you next week, hopefully. Come on by again. And for those who have watched on YouTube, give it a like. If you've watched this far, come on. And subscribe and hit the bell and all those things. All right? Take care, folks.